Thanks for joining us in the WVLT Newsroom. I'm Whitney Turner. A hidden danger is lurking in the woods of Tennessee, a creature so small you might not even notice it's on you until it's too late. I'm talking about the Lone Star tick seen here in this video, only millimeters long, and experts are concerned about the dangers that lie in its bite. I caught up with somebody who has been diagnosed with alpha-gal syndrome, and I spoke with experts who are studying this emerging condition. Nathan Weaver's meals look a lot different these days.
This stuff is really good. These like tuna things that are barbecue, because it sort of tricks me into thinking that I'm having actual barbecue.
He has a potentially life-threatening allergy to red meat.
The first time was just the full torso hives. The second time was hives a little more, but worse. And then the most concerning part that made me really go to the doctor about it was my lip had swollen up, which they said was basically the next step would be anaphylaxis.
A reaction he'd never experienced before until one day in August of last year.
I had been behind our shop in the woods, just walking around, had some ticks on my arm. I didn't think much of it. I knocked them off and went about my day. And then about a month later, I started having reactions to red meat.
Weaver is one of a growing number of Tennesseans diagnosed with alpha-gal syndrome.
As far as the diagnosis, they had said that it was sort of rare, but we're seeing more of it, especially in like the East Tennessee area. So they weren't very surprised about it.
Alpha-gal is a sugar molecule found in most mammals like deer, pigs, and cows, but it's not in people.
The ticks, when they're feeding on us, will produce alpha-gal. So we don't produce it, but they are producing it. And in that exchange, the alpha-gal that they're producing is exchanged while they're collecting the blood from us. They're exchanging alpha-gal with us, and that creates a sensitization event.
Angela Tucker is an education and training specialist at the University of Tennessee. She studies ticks and the diseases they carry.
It is still what we consider an emerging condition, so we're still trying to learn everything that we need to know.
In fact, alpha-gal syndrome is considered a disease of concern in the state of Tennessee because anyone spending a lot of time outdoors could be at risk. Here is a look at a study from the CDC showing the suspected alpha-gal cases per million population per year from 2017 to 2022. And as you can see, Tennessee is a hotspot for the disease. But this data is limited. So this past summer, Tennessee passed a law requiring doctors to report all diagnoses of alpha-gal to the state.
Having some numbers will help us understand just how many people are potentially impacted, and then also help us get potentially some additional funding around helping people get educated.
The Lone Star tick is the primary carrier of alpha-gal, and at just 3 to 6 millimeters long, it can be hard to spot, even with the white dot on its back.
I just thought maybe they were chiggers or something. I didn't even really understand that they were ticks yet.
It's not just red meat. Alpha-gal can be found in dairy products, gelatin, and some medications, which keeps Weaver vigilant everywhere he goes.
A lot of Southern cooking with like green beans, people put bacon in it, and I have to like check even the vegetables that I eat because it's like, oh, you have a baked potato, but did you put bacon bits in it? Is there this? Is there that?
But this bite has affected more than just Weaver's diet. It made him put down his rifle and rethink his hunting hobby.
I don't feel right taking the life of something that then I can't eat, even though I know it's going to a good place and it's not being wasted. It's just mentally a little different.
Tucker says some studies show it is possible to outgrow this allergy over time if you can avoid allergic reactions as well as another tick bite.
So being very mindful of those two things as you're dealing with alpha-gal syndrome led to those individuals saying, reaching some point where they could potentially eat red meat again. So there is some hope.
Hope Weaver holds on to. In the meantime, enjoying the few delicacies he safely can.
One thing I can eat for the Florida games, I can still eat gator.
Now, Weaver has a really good attitude about his diagnosis, and he was tipped off that he could possibly have this syndrome because his wife worked for Cherokee National Forest and she learned about it at her job. So, a big part of this story is about creating awareness and the possibility that if you're somebody who works outside or spends a lot of time in the woods or tall grass, you could be at risk for this. And you want to be mindful that if you're experiencing some of these symptoms, that you need to tell your doctor that you were outside recently and could have possibly been bitten by a tick, because there's no one test that will confirm that you have alpha-gal syndrome. This is a diagnosis of exclusion. So you need to be extremely clear with your doctor that this is something potentially you could test positive for. So Tucker tells me the best way to protect yourself from this is to prevent being bitten by a tick in the first place, which can be difficult to do if you are somebody who spends a lot of time outside. She recommends wearing long sleeves, long pants, light colored clothing when possible, because that makes the dark tick look more visible on your clothing. Again, these things are only millimeters long, so they're hard to spot. Wearing white clothing makes it easier for you to see if one is on you. Ticks are also dependent on moisture, and they're very aware of the moisture in the air. So if you are outside and you're worried a tick could be on your clothes, possibly, if you put those clothes in your dryer, it'll kill any of those ticks for you. And if possible, you do find a tick has bitten you, keep it, because you can bring it to the doctor and present it to them, and they could tell you possibly what tick it is. The Lone Star tick, the females have that notable white dot on their back, but the males do not. Now, most commonly, the females will be the ones who are feeding, but it is good if you can keep that tick to do so possible. Now, also use EPA-approved repellents if you're going to be outside to protect yourself, and make sure you check for ticks every time you come inside from a wooded area. And she also recommends taking a shower. That helps as well. So this is mostly about creating awareness about the possibility that this is out there, since there is no one test that confirms this. And like Tucker mentioned, back in July, Tennessee passed a law making alpha-gal syndrome a reportable disease. So what she anticipates in really the next 5 to 10 years, the numbers will be clear how many Tennesseans have been diagnosed with alpha-gal syndrome. And the Lone Star tick is extremely prevalent here in the Southeast. So those numbers are going to be really important over the next 5 to 10 years as they come out. So more than one tick bite increases the likelihood of you getting alpha-gal syndrome. So if you do think you have been bitten by a tick, maybe avoid being outside for a while. And generally, the longer they're on you, the more likelihood you are to get one of their diseases that they are carrying. So you just want to be incredibly mindful if you're going outside. Long socks, long pants too, that helps as well. Once again, this is an emerging condition, so a lot of questions are still unanswered, and there are studies that show if you can avoid being bitten by a tick again, and you're extremely cautious about not eating anything with the alpha-gal molecule in it, you could potentially enjoy red meat once again. But those numbers are few and far between. Hopefully we'll have more data on this soon. If you are interested in learning more, or possibly you want to share this information with someone you know who spends time outside and could potentially be at risk for this, we've got the story for you linked right here on the WVLT website and inside your WVLT News app. We hope all of you stay safe, and thank you so much for joining us.